Hi guys, I'm still in a beachy mood, so I thought I'd do a faux stone. I'm going to do a Chrysoprase, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's like greeny turquoisey colours, so kind of oceany looking still. And all you'll need is some translucent clay. I've got white Premo translucent, and I've rolled out cut out 5 equal squares, and they were rolled onto a number 4 on my pasta machine, 0 being the thickest setting, and I just used this 2x2 square to get the equal squares. I also rolled out another little strip of translucent, and I rolled that onto a number 7, so that's quite thick. And then you'll need some more translucent for a backing as well. I'm just going to put that over there. And I'm using 5 alcohol inks today, and they're all from the Cernit range. And this one is lime green. And then I also have emerald and turquoise and navy blue and then black, but the black's going to be later on, so I'm just going to put that to one side. And all you're going to do is make some room on your desk. And let's start with the lime green. I'm going to do 2 squares in this colour. So 1, 2, 3 drops. Just rub it over the surface. And then the same on this one. 1, 2, 3 drops. And that's that one. Rub it over the surface. And what I like to do is just get a brush and just go over it a few times. It helps to dry it quicker because I'm impatient and I don't like to wait. So I just do that quickly, and the more you brush over it, the quicker it dries. So that's those 2 squares. Now, if you don't have the Cernit alcohol inks, you're going to have to try and match the colours as best you can. It might require some mixing depending on which inks you're using. I can't suggest any particular, you'll just have to see what you've got, but these colours worked for me for this stone, so that's why I'm going with the Cernits. And then I'm going to go with the turquoise next, and I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3 drops of that, like so. Get my brush again and just quickly go over it a few times just so it dries quicker. I've always got a wet wipe handy. Just brush it over, make sure they're thoroughly dry, but that helps it to dry quicker. Whoops. And then the next colour then is the emerald. 1, 2, 3 drops. Like so. And just leave it to one side to dry thoroughly. And then the last square is this navy blue. 1, 2, 3. I'm contemplating whether to add a little bit of turquoise into this, and I think I'm gonna. So for the navy blue one, I'm gonna grab the turquoise and just add 1 drop. That was quite a big drop. It was accidental, but it's no biggie. Just to give it a slightly different shade once it's dry. And then looking at these are very similar. The emerald is very similar to the turquoise actually. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of the lime green into the turquoise. I just want the shades of the greeny blues you know, gradually going from light to dark, and this just changes it up a little bit so they don't all look too similar. So that's made it a little bit more greeny. Alright, so that's all I'm doing for those. I'm going to leave those to dry, and then when they're dry, I'm just going to take each one and thoroughly mix it up in my pasta machine so the colour's completely mixed into the clay. And I will be back. I've rolled those out, and what I've done is I've put them in this order, the 2 lime greens, and I've swapped the emerald and the turquoise around. So that's turquoise, emerald, and then the navy blue. And I'm just going to simply make a skinner blend, and I'm going to just roll them into little teardrop shapes. And I did 2 of these because I want more of the lighter colour at the top, and I didn't want to lump them together to make a bigger triangle. It makes the blend a little bit uneven, so I'm doing it like this. 2 small ones instead of 1 big one. Okay, so just take each one, make sure they're nicely conditioned, roll into little teardrops, and alternate the points. So one's facing down, one's facing up, one's facing down. Last one. And then I'm just going to pass this through the pasta machine to get a nice blend. I'm not going to overly blend it, but a nice little blend. So when you've got your little teardrops together, just give it a quick roll so it's thin enough to pass through the pasta machine, and they're stuck together. Make sure they're stuck together, lift them up, pass through the pasta machine down. Once it comes out the other end, fold it over colour to colour, and then pass through again and do the same thing until you've got your blend. And I will go and do that off camera and show you when I get back. Okay, there's my blend, going from light down to the darkest. But what I want to do is just fold it over to make it a thinner strip, like so. Again, colour to colour, so you've got a narrower strip like so. Make sure it's nicely stuck together, and then I'm going to pass it back through the pasta machine, but I'm going to take it down to a number 6, so fairly thin. So I'm just going to pass it through this way onto a number 6. I will stay on camera for that. So I'm just passing it down onto a 4, and now I'm taking it down to a 6. And I'm trying to keep it straight, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. Here it comes. Alright, so you're going to be left with this long strip with this really pretty blend. Okay, easy as that. Now what I'm going to do is, starting from this end, is just cut equal parts from the strip, equal-ish. I'm so bad at doing it. As you can see, that one's way longer. Oops. No worries. So equal-ish parts. Until you get to the end and you've got all your gradient cut into little squares. And you want to keep them in that order as well, so from dark down to light. Okay, so I'm just going to move these over a little bit so I've got some room, and we're going to start with the darkest, which is this blue. I'm just going to put that there, and I'm going to get this translucent that I already rolled out onto a 7, and I'm just going to take a little strip of it like so, and I'm just going to place it on half of the blue like that. Just remove that, and then I'm going to get my black alcohol ink, and I'm just going to brush a little drop of it over the top of that translucent only, just the translucent. because I noticed in this particular stone there was some little black, tiny little black lines in it, and I mean tiny. Of course, you can look at any stone and they all vary a little bit, even if it's the same stone, just depending on where they're cut. So you're not going to find exactly like this, I wouldn't think. I'll leave a picture of what inspired me so you can see where I'm coming from. Alright, so that's that. And then I'm going to add the next darkest piece, which was that blue again, on top of that. And I'm going to take another little strip of trans and place that on the opposite side. Doesn't matter if it's not exact, it's a stone, it's pretty random, and just another drop of black alcohol ink on that. Clean my brush a little bit and try and dry that off quicker, so I'll just keep brushing over it. And then I'm going to take my blade blunt side down and just do some little lines all the way through, so you can crisscross and go in any direction like so. And then I'm going to get my sharp flexible blade and I'm just going to take some of this back down. So you should be left with some lines and some little darker splodges underneath. Like so. Next colour then, that dark again. This time I'm going to add some copper leaf. I've made this as simple as I possibly can. Because that's just the way I like to do things. I don't like to make things too complicated, because my brain doesn't work complicated actually. It's like, well actually it does. I take that back, it actually does. I overcomplicate things, to be honest. But I found with making these faux stones, simpler is more effective. You can get too bogged down with trying to get the exact look of the stone. You're never going to do it. A, because even if it's the same stone, they vary in shade, you know, depending on where they're cut. But also, to me, this is art, and it's just a representation of something. I mean, I suppose if I spent hours working out every little detail, you could get it to look exact, but I'm not going to. I'm just keeping it simple. Alright, so once you put your gold copper leaf on top, get the next square down and just pop that on there. And then I'm just going to take these little shards that are left over of the trans and just pop them on there. It's all pretty random. I'm just trying to use up every little bit of clay that I've got. I'm just going to take another little piece so I can just pop that one on there. Like so. It doesn't matter if it overlaps, doesn't matter if it gets a bit of gold leaf on it, copper leaf on it. Okay, and then I'm going to get the next strip down, the next square down, pop that on top, and I'm going to just do a few little cuts in there as well, just to try and give it a little bit of fracture. And then I'm just going to add another strip of the trans on top of that. I'm just going to get rid of that excess there. Same thing, blunt side down with the blade and just do a few little criss-cross chops into the clay, like so. And I'm just going to add a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to add another little bit of black, I think. But this will be the last bit of black, and I'm just going to cover the whole piece-ish with the black. A couple of drops on there. Oops. Give it a brush over. try and get it dry quickly so we can continue. And I think that's dry enough. Same thing, a few more cuts. It's okay to give it a little bit of a wiggle. That helps to push that black clay down a little bit as well. The alcohol ink, rather. I'm going to get my flexible blade again, and I'm just going to take off the very top, so it just leaves a few little black lines here and there. And you can even leave some, you know, with a little bit more black on. You don't have to completely shave it off. It's just to give it that little look of the black lines that I saw. And then I'm going to take the next one down, which is now this going into this more turquoisey part of the stone. And I forgot to add the copper leaf, but I'll do that here. It doesn't really matter where you do it, I guess. Oops. Don't want that much. So just put that on there like so. I think that's good for the copper leaf. I'm just going to put these little random pieces of trans back on there just because it's there. Another little chop. Nothing major. Give it a little squish. And then just keep piling this up. And periodically just giving it a little cut through. You can do as many of those cuts as you want to, or as few as you want to. And then periodically just throwing in a little bit of transit. It's pretty random, guys. Just keep the colours in the order that I told you. And just put the translucent and gold leaf wherever you feel. I mean, the particular stone I looked at, the gold was just at the bottom, but again, the stones vary, because other ones I saw the gold was all through it, or just more concentrated in one area. Concentrated, that was the word. I know I kept saying condensed, but concentrated was the word. Oh my gosh, I just finally realised. If you've not seen my other videos, you won't understand that, but for those of you that have seen a few of my videos where I kept saying condensed when actually I meant concentrated, I've just realised that's the word I was looking for. Another little bit of trans, just because it was there. Give it a little chop. A few little cuts in there, just to break it up a bit. This is so easy, guys. And then I'm just going to basically add the rest now. We've still got a little bit of trans left, but I don't think we need it. And that's it. It's so easy. And I just wanted that, a little bit more of that brighter green at the top of the stack. Alright, so I've not made a lot, because I've already made like probably 15 pendants out of me practicing doing this, so I'm only doing a very tiny block. Obviously, if you want to make it bigger, say double the size of the squares, and double the size of the ink, so you get the same ratio of colour. Alright, it's as easy as that. I've got this tiny little block, but you'll be surprised at how many pieces you can get out of this. But I'm just making sure it's nicely stuck together. Like I say, I've just made a very tiny block. I'm going to bring over my backing clay, which is translucent again. I'm going to give my flexible blade a quick wipe. And I'm going to start taking as thin as I can slices from the top. I'm not cutting down this way. If you did that, you would just get a series of stripes going up. What I'm doing is trying to maintain the graduation of colours from light down to dark. So I'm taking it off little by little and then restacking it really onto my backing clay. so that's how I achieved that look. So we've got this brighter green at the top, and I'm taking it as thin as I can. And my tips is crying. Doesn't matter if you overlap. That's fine to overlap. And you're just going to keep cutting down and adding it to the backing sheet. Easy peasy. Now you can see it's starting to go into that next colour now, which is what you want. And I just like to give it a little smush as I go down. Make sure it's still stuck on that tile, and then take the next piece, and now it's starting to go into that turquoise now. And I am going to overlap it a little bit. Oops. Give my blade a wipe, it helps. I've got something stuck in there, looks like a little hair. And you're going to get a little bit of patterning like that, that's absolutely fine as well. That's where I put the knife through, it's kind of giving it some fractures. And that's fine. I don't think this blade is very sharp, I think I might need to change it. Let me see if I've got a better one than that. Seems a little blunt. Try this one, that's better. Alright, now you're getting onto that next shade, and the gold leaf is starting to come through now. So I keep saying gold leaf, it's copper leaf. Gold would work, I think. And you're starting to see some of those little bits of black as well, and this is what you want. You can always flip over and see which side looks the best. Again, it doesn't matter if you overlap it a little bit. And we're coming down to the bottom of the stack now. And just keep doing that. So I'm just going to finish this off. Just layering it back onto the backing sheet. And we've got some scrummy bits here, and I kind of wish, I'm just going to take that piece away and put that there instead, and I think I'll do the same. I didn't roll out quite enough clay, so I'm just going to remove a couple of pieces because I really like this bit at the bottom here. I should have rolled my clay out a little bit longer because this is my favourite part, this bit at the bottom. I just really like the colours, I really like the gold leaf. Copper leaf. And just piece it the best way you can. It doesn't have to be uniform, don't worry about those little bits, they can be chippy choppy or something, but that's all I've done. So I've gone as best as I can, just taken the gradation of colours down, so from the light green right down to that darker blue and that more emerald colour, and that's the veneer. Of course it needs a good old burnish. So I'm going to just pop it on some paper, get another piece of paper, give it a quick, actually I'll just give it a quick roll first without the paper, just to smooth it out a little bit. And stretch it out a little bit. And then I'm going to give it a good burnish with my steel soap, which is this egg looking thing, egg shaped thing, listed in my Amazon storefront in the description. And I'm just going to give this a really good burnish. I want everything to be nice and smooth, so you can press quite firmly when you're doing this. You don't want to just be, you know, that's not going to do anything. You've got to give it some nice firm pressure. And then periodically you can just check to see what it looks like and feel. It's still a little lumpy in areas, so I'm just going to go back over it again. And I think that should be good now. And there we go, that's it. It's very, very simple. But you can see there's a little bit of patterning going on, a little bit of fracture. And then obviously the colours going down, transitioning down from the light to the dark. Okay, like I say, you could make more of it if you wanted to. You could add more copper leaf, play around with the colours. You don't have to have it exactly like that. Like I say, stones vary really in shade. So all there is left to do is to cut them out, find my lid for this alcohol ink, which I can't find right now, so I will leave that. And I'm just going to get some of my, actually I shouldn't have really balled that up, should I? This can be used. I can just pop these two together and then put it on some backing clay, and that'll make another piece. And that's another thing as well, you can lay your pieces whichever way you want to. They don't have to be, you can have it that way or whatever. Like this one's just going to be pieced together, but it will still, once I put it on the backing sheet, it will still look pretty nice. Okay, let's cut some shapes out then. I'm going to use this, no, not that one, this one. I absolutely love this. It's just a simple diamond shape with a little bit of a curve. It's in one of my, it's in Clay Boutique's custom made cutters on Ojoy Creations. I will leave a link to her shop. But it's one of my designs, and I just think it looks lovely for a faux stone. And there is going to be quite a lot of this left over on this one, the light green. That's the only problem. It depends how you lay things out. I could always do that up there, I guess, and then I've got something, we'll see. You just have to kind of play around with it, and you're going to get a different looking stone for each cut if you so wished, or you could just literally go in a line. But I don't really want to waste all of that. So I'm just giving this a good old wiggle, make sure it's gone all the way through. And that's the first piece. Because I haven't made a massive amount, I haven't really got a lot of room to play with, but I'll just go with what I've got. Oh, that looks nice. But I think I'm going to go up there a little bit, get a bit more of that lighter green in there. So that's that one. And I'll show you the other pieces that I've made as well. I mean, they all look pretty much the same. This one's going to be awkward. Need to give it a bit more of a wiggle, I think. I like to cut, I mean, it's easier to cut things out on tile, but I've been actually doing it straight on the paper because I just don't like the pits in the back of the clay when you've rolled it out on a tile or whatever. But sometimes it does this because it's not got anything to stick to really. So there's that one. That's that one. And then I've got this one that I can play with, and I might go the other way with this one. So the darker at the top and the lighter at the bottom. Make sure I've got enough clay on there, and give this one a push and a wiggle. And that one came out. So I do have some left, but what I can do, or what you can do, is if this happens, is just move those out of the way, is just take it, break it where it's, you know, like that, and just piece it back together, and you'll get another few stones out of it. That's what I like to do. Or you could just, you know, chippy choppy it all up. So I'm just breaking these pieces off and somewhat joining them back together in the same direction of colour. But again, no big deal if you don't, guys, because it's a faux stone. But that's what I would do. Or chippy choppy. Obviously it needs good burnish. I'm going to take this bit and just fill that little gap in there. So you can reconfigure it, so to speak. I could even get these bits and throw them in, actually. I think I will. I think I'll put that up there and cover that translucent up down there. So it's a bit of a mishmash, but it will work. You'll obviously need to roll out another sheet of backing. But that's just one way to deal with any leftovers. And just give it a roll, make sure it's all stuck together. And then obviously a burnish, and it will need another backing, but I'm not going to do that on camera. I've got these 3 pieces here, which is more than enough to show you, and I think they are just so scrummy. Alright, so I'm just going to give these a quick wipe down as usual. A little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a wipe, and just give them a quick wipe. It just means they are a lot smoother before they're even baked. And for some reason there's a little bit of red on that, which is very annoying. Don't know how that got on there, or even where it came from, to be honest. It looks like red something. Okay, so a nice clean, a nice smooth, and that's those 2 pieces, pre-bake obviously. So that's those. Give this one a quick wipe. A little smooth. There's a little bit there that looks a little rough. I'm just going to put it on the same piece of paper. And there's that one. So 3 beautiful pieces. I've still got all this left that I can play with and make something else. But there they are, guys. So I'm going to go and bake these, and I'll be back. Okay, so these came out of the oven, and whoops, dropped one on the floor and picked it up again and sanded the edges, resined the front. Now there is a bit of placking in this. You can see these little bits of trapped hair, but I don't mind on these faux stones. I think it kind of adds to it, so don't panic too much if that happens. But there's that one that I did. I also resined and glittered the back. I haven't made them into a pendant yet, but I will. Let me just show you the translucency of this, and you can really see those lovely patterns all the way through. So there's that one, and then here's the other one that I did. Same thing, sanded on the sides, resined on the front, resined and glittered on the back. There's that one, and then the other one that I did. Okay, so they're all from today. I think they look rather lovely. That's those. And then just a few more pieces that I did. This is the one that I did with the leftover, you know, where I pieced it all back together. That's this one. I haven't resined the back yet, but that's that one. And then a couple more pieces that I did from a different batch, so a little bit of a variation. I've got a lot more copper leaf in that, so if you wanted to add more you could, but pretty much the same thing. Alright guys, there you have it. This one's got a smudge mark on it. I might have to re-resin this one. Oh, while I'm talking about resin, actually, I get a lot of people saying, what do you do if you resin a piece and then you see the little air bubbles appear. What I tend to do, I don't think that there's actually any in this one, but let's just pretend there's some air bubbles and there is a little bit of a smudge. Give it a quick sand over with I use a 320 grit. Just give it a quick sand over and then apply another coat of resin, and that should fix the problem. Alright, anyway guys, that was off at a tangent, but there you go. Them's all the pieces. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.